we'll look at the issue of freedom to lead.
You have to kind of work twice as hard.
Good morning, welcome to the conversation on TOS TV Network, your digital first pan African television network. I am Adesu Elsie.
And I am Merciful Ajinomo. Good morning.
All right, before we get on with the show, we're going to quickly bring you the quote of the day. Welcome back. That was a quote by Shai Reshef, emphasizing the importance of education. All right, we're going to go on a break, and when we come back, we'll be taking you through developments across Africa. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Moving straight into development across Africa, starting from Burkina Faso, where a militant attack has left no fewer than 6 persons dead. The 6 people were killed when security forces in northern Burkina Faso were ambushed by the militants. A soldier and 5 civilian volunteers for the defense of the fatherland, as the VDP, were killed in the attack. The AFP news agency quoted on Sunday a security source as saying the Kwaro VDP were patrolling the area and were targeted by armed individuals. A unit went to their aid and came under heavy fire. The civilian volunteers are part of a network that helps the army and fighting militant groups operating in Burkina Faso. That's quite a very sad news.
Yeah, it's a sad one.
It's
a sad one. So we'll move on to Kogi Group announcing Dangote as Africa's best. The Kogi State Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture has announced the Dangote Cement PLC as the best performing company in Africa. A statement issued on Sunday and made available to TOS News stated that the award was presented to the company in Lokoja at the weekend by the Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Chief Edward Onoja, who represented the State Governor Alhaji Yahya Bello, who at the annual general meeting at Kosima. And speaking at the occasion, President of Kosima, Victor Ibrahim, said the Dangote Cement emerged through a thorough screening process that involved 20 companies.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah,
Moving away from that, coming back to where we are here in Nigeria, another sad news, looking like developments that we're going to have to get used to somewhat.
Insecurity.
Yes, gunmen has abducted about 19 people in Niger community. No fewer than 19 people were abducted in Kuntuku village in Wushishi local government area of Niger State on Monday. That was yesterday. Those abducted include 11 males and 8 females, including 2 brides-to-be who are to get married this weekend. The gunmen had stormed the village in motorcycles, shooting sporadically. They were said to have beaten some of the villagers who could not escape on time. TOS News gathered that the gunmen had ransacked houses and carted away lots of money and foodstuff. Abdullahi Diome vowed to use all the means necessary for a return to order. I think it was sometime last week when the presidency said the abduction in was it Niger State or one of those states, Kaduna State or Niger State, was going to be the last, right?
Because we're going to change this, tactics.
Exactly. And we saw another one, and then this is another one. It's as though these bandits or, I don't know, terrorist group are trying to make mockery of the Nigerian security system, as though you guys can't do anything.
So it's not up to a week yet where they said they're going to change the tactics and strategies,
and then we're having another
we're still having something.
abduction.
So I think we're pretty much still keeping our fingers crossed to know that these tactics and the strategy bring something, something positive, because we're tired of coming to the news every day seeing one sort of abduction or a
banditry here,
kidnapping.
kidnapping. It's quite, and they're always coming on a motorcycle. I wonder why that is. All right, moving on.
Yeah, moving on the COVID-19 pandemic issue and the vaccination exercise. Mozambique is ready to receive the COVID-19 vaccine on Monday to begin a countrywide vaccination campaign against COVID-19. TOS News gathered that health workers will be among the first to be vaccinated because of their high exposure to infection during work. According to Mozambican Ministry of Health, 121,530 vaccine doses have been distributed to the provinces out of the 200,000 doses that the country received from China last month. And Mozambique has so far confirmed 62,520 coronavirus cases with 693 deaths and 46,421 recoveries. The country expects to receive an additional 484,000 vaccine doses on Monday, and these include the 384,000 from the COVAX initiative and 100,000 of the Covishield vaccine donated by India.
Quite interesting. I hope before the vaccines get rolled out, it's been tested safe, because I know that's what lots of Africans are worried about.
Of course. They
The
want to see if
safety
it's something
of
that they
the
can do.
vaccines. Yes, I mean, if it's proving to be safe enough, for Africans, then I think a lot of Africans wouldn't mind, getting vaccinated and
That's true.
beating COVID-19. All right, still on the issue of COVID-19, we're going to go on a break, and in that time, we'll be bringing you our COVID-19 updates from across Africa. That was the COVID-19 update from across Africa, collected by the Africa Center for Disease Control. Now, I would never get tired of telling you to take proper precautions, get vaccinated. If your country has started rolling out vaccines, the vaccines are still would have, herd immunity against COVID-19. So the larger part of the population are going to be vaccinated. So everyone is going to be safe, protected against COVID. And of course, if your country isn't rolling out vaccines yet, do take proper precautions. Wear your face mask. That's quite important. Avoid crowded places. Wash your hands regularly and use hand sanitizers if you don't have, soap and water available at the time.
And we're hoping that the index, the data, the reports, statistics will start changing
dropping,
because of the vaccination exercise being,
we're hoping to see, drop in the
happening.
number of active cases and in the number of deaths too. That's quite important.
Very.
Okay, having said that, we're going to go on another break, and when we come back, it'll be time to take you through the newspaper headlines for this morning.
TOS TV Network mobile app is now available. You can now catch up on our breaking news, stream our programs live, watch out for the latest update on sports and politics as they unfold. You can also get notifications for our upcoming programs and events. All these on our TOS TV Network mobile app, available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. TOS TV News from Africa by Africans.
Being a journalist means in-depth analysis that unravels hidden truths, that question the status quo and fact-checks government.
These criminal elements hiding under the cloak of surveillance contractors are the APC elements.
Do you have
Let me
facts to
put it
prove
that
that?
way.
Being a journalist means waking up every day with a burning desire for peace, equity, and justice for all citizens.
We're being told that the choice you have is to take the lesser of two evils.
It means patriotism via the prism of objectivity and accountability. It means giving my platform to the masses to discuss issues that matter to them.
Some of them, if they bring budget, now the budget they look. Some of them sleep. They're going to ask how much you are on. I have it.
Thereby shaping government policies and laws. My name is Osasu Igmeneja, and I am
Welcome back. It's about time we take you through what the Nigerian dailies are saying this morning. Starting from the Daily Trust, and I'm going to start from the very top right there, where 5 reasons Nigerian president won 1.905 billion naira leadership prize. Then beside it, we have Nigeria needs $1.5 trillion GDP to tackle debt and poverty. That's coming from Uwani. Fuel price hike looms as crude oil hits $71 per barrel. I thought we were done with the issue of fuel price hike. And then moving over to the very gaping headline on the Daily Trust this morning. This is coming from an offshoot of the recent abduction that happened in Niger State in Nigeria. Niger to arm vigilante with pump action guns. The first rider under that will not disband groups. Governor Sani Bello, no negotiation with bandits. And then the third one, 2 brides to be, 17 others kidnapped. That story is on page 5 of the Daily Trust this morning. And then under the picture of the day, where I think some women are having a protest. I think that's in Anambra State. NDLEA uncovers cocaine catch in Anambra Monarch's Palace. That's on the Daily Trust this morning. And under that, UNESCO scores Buhari high on women inclusion in governance. That's quite impressive. Guard your utterances. Army wants Gumi. That's Sheikh Gumi. I think he always has kind of opinion on the issue of banditry and terrorism in Nigeria. And then under the last headline, UBA earns 132 billion naira profit in 2020. All of those stories you can find on the Daily Trust newspaper.
I think on the big story on the Daily Trust, Niger to arm vigilante with pump action guns is something that personally I think is a step towards, because we're always talking about insecurity, abduction. So to an extent, this will try to curb.
Yes, so it's like global solution for the problems that they're having. If we cannot have solutions from the national level, we should start from the local level and then see how it trickles down. Yeah.
Excellent. So we move on to the leadership newspaper, and the big story there is COVID-19 vaccination centers not ready 3 days after flag off. It's quite sad. Just riders being notice portal contacts switched off. FCT residents stranded, and states receive COVID-19 vaccines today. And just underneath it, Women's Day, talking about International Women's Day, Presidency seeks end to poverty among women. And underneath it, as FG moves to create special courts for gender-based violence. Let's go to the top of the newspaper. 40 years after, legal battle stalls Mambila Power Project. And just underneath it, just a headline there says UBA declares 132 billion naira profit as gross earnings hit 620 billion naira. And that you can find on leadership. And just underneath it, you can see EFCC chairman appoints, redeploys principal officers, and Matawali removes Maru Emir for supporting bandits. All those can be found on the leadership newspaper for today.
I think before I move over to the Daily Times, I like the rider under the Women's Day headline that says federal government moves to create special courts for gender-based violence. Yeah. I do know, the issue of gender-based violence had been on the front burner for the longest time possible. And then there's one thing for you to take the matter, to come up with it and take the matter to court. Another thing is the dragging, legal system.
Because we're looking for actions, yeah?
Yes.
We keep talking about it, but things are not being done.
Exactly, and then you go to court, and then the action drags for years. Even you that went to report, you get tired and like, let's just let it go. But if you have a special court dedicated to dealing with issues of that nature, yes, the justice system and everything is going to be faster. So we don't have all of those things.
And the judgment will be done on time.
Yes, and done on time. So people will be encouraged to actually come out and speak, against gender-based violence, and I think that's quite applaudable. I hope action is taken, not just moving to do the action, but actually, creating.
Yeah, because we're actually tired of all the energy, that's being drawn towards gender equality and everything. But still, we're not seeing. Yes. There's so much, force about it, but we're not seeing things done about so I think this is a step towards it.
Exactly. Now, moving over to the Daily Times, starting from the very gaping headline there. Merchants making huge foreign exchange on COVID-19 vaccines. That story is on page 2 of the Daily Times. If you're interested in that story, get yourself a copy of the Daily Times. Under that, 2023 presidency, no zoning of presidency to South in APC for 2023, says Yahaya Bello, that's the governor of Kogi State. On the issue of International Women's Day, join politics for you have limitless potentials. Join politics for you have limitless potentials. That's coming from Peter Obi, urging women in Nigeria to join politics. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Banking, UBA's gross earnings surpassed 600 billion naira. Profit hit 132 billion naira in 2020. All of those stories are on the Daily Times this morning. Get yourself a copy. Quite interesting headlines this morning.
Of course it is.
Moving over to the business day.
Okay, the business day, the big story there is Nigeria's renewable local content mirrors oil, gas mistakes. That's the big story on business day. You can grab your copy for today. And just across it, you can see UBA delivers double-digit growth in gross earnings as profit hits 132 billion naira. And those news can be found on the business day in the newspaper today. And inside, we have pension managers woo contributors with higher returns. That can be found on page 30 of the business day newspaper.
UBA is replicated across all of the dailies that we've read this morning, making that much profit. And I think in the year 2020, because 2021.
And I'm picturing the graph like you're just rising and everything. So that's a positive.
It's quite positive and it's quite impressive. Yeah. All right, that's the much you can take on the newspaper headlines for this morning. We're going to go on a break, and when we come back, I'll be taking you through what's trending on social media. Welcome back. Now moving straight into what's trending on social media. Now the issue of the hijab controversy in Kwara State has been trending. First, because the government of Kwara State shut down some schools over the controversy of allowing female students in the school to wear hijab to schools, and then the schools being reopened. So it's been a back and forth with the government of Kwara State and the leaders of some Christian schools in Kwara State saying they're not going to allow students
some Muslim leaders
wear hijab in their school because it's a Christian school and it goes against the mission of the missionaries that created or built this
school. So it's pretty much like a controversy. This is saying we should, this is saying we shouldn't do so. It has brought a lot of talks on social media.
It brought a lot of talks on social media. And another thing that the leaders of the Christian school did was to urge Christians to occupy the schools when they reopen today in protest of the government's resolution. So it's like even when the schools reopen, we're going to protest allowing these Muslims, Muslim girls, the students, to wear hijab to school. Now, hijab is the head covering that female Muslims wear over their head. Now,
and this has happened before, This whole hijab, the whole controversy around it has happened before. I think some years, maybe 2-3 years back.
Ago, yes.
And it trended on social media. So I thought we were done.
Yes.
But now seeing it again trending, it's something to talk about.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to read out a few tweets to that regard. The first one is from Nigerian God _ Hijab should be a choice and Muslim women should be allowed to choose if they want to wear it or not. And forcing it on them is uncalled for. By the way, hijab was never in the Islamic culture but borrowed Arab traditions. This from C.H. Nadozi. The hijab debate has resurfaced again. Schools have been shut down in Kwara because of it. Where's the demand for quality education? They ignore the real issue, chasing shadows instead of substance. And then the last one is from M. Fariz _. There's no single school in the north where non-Muslim ladies are forced to wear hijab. But why is it that Muslim ladies are being prevented from wearing hijab in some schools in some states of Nigeria? I think everyone has a right to practice their religion. Enough is enough. Now, while I think it's quite, religion is quite a sensitive thing in Nigeria, because Nigerians are very religious people and we take, religions very personally. So I think that's why we're having controversy, because the Christian school is very particular about their beliefs and their faith, and they said this is against what we stand for. It's a Christian school. And then this the state government is saying, look, I think Kwara State is largely a Muslim dominated state. So we have more Muslims than Christian and other religions there, and they're saying Muslim women, I think, normally wears hijab, so they should be allowed to wear hijab to school. So I really don't know how much I can say about the back and forth that keeps going on.
I somewhat agree with the tweet by Senator Sheikh Husani, because personally I think if you go into an institution, if you're signing up, registering your ward or daughter or son for an institution, there should be like a written down policy. So if we're saying hijabs are like compulsory, then they can go ahead. If they say no, you can change school. So it should be pretty much the choice of the person and the people. As far as you're dressing modest, there should not be any extra hijab. If you're covering your head, that's fine. If you're doing, just make sure you're dressing well.
Okay.
That's my take personally.
Yes, another thing is, the people that have come up to say the schools are public schools. They were initially missionary schools. Yeah. A lot of public schools in Nigeria were initially missionary schools, right? And so, but now this been taken over by the government. But I think that's why these leaders are saying the initial plan of the school is to be a Christian school. So we're not going to allow these girls wear hijab to school. But another thing is, there's been another argument. I think maybe that should be my stand. That's my stand too. Is when something is, this is what it is, it should be what it is. This is what the school uniform is. This. There's no hijab or head covering. Because I know there are Christians too that wear head coverings, right? Yes. And so if we're not advocating that these people wear these head coverings to school, then this is what it should be. It's like being in the military and you're saying, I know there's been, they advocate for, women to also wear, coverings in the military, but that's what the uniform is. That's what the standard is. And I think we should stick. Nobody said you shouldn't cover your hair after you get out of the uniform, but once you're taking on, I'm a student, I'm going to school.
You're there for a particular time.
This is what it should be. And I think I agree with this other tweet that says we're deviating from the issue at hand and looking at, things that shouldn't matter. The issue should be quality education, not what you should, look like to school. As long as you're wearing you're differently dressed, as you said, then I don't think the issue of hijab or hair coverings should be an issue. We should be looking at quality education, not what the hair covering is. But I'm literally very interested to see how this plays out.
Because social media is still on fire.
Yes,
people, tweeting,
exactly.
Why should it's like a fight.
It's a back and forth, so, and I'm just thinking what the result that comes out of it. But I just hope both the state government and the leaders of this school come to some sort of agreement, just meet in the middle. Everything should be done in the best interest of the student and of the theme of quality education, not going back and forth, shutting down schools. We have issues of number of out-of-school children already. We shouldn't even have to, have another out-of-school children because of something as simple as wearing a head covering. All right, that's too much I can take, or we can take on, what's trending this morning. We're going to go on a break, and when we come back, we'll get into the crux of the conversation, and that's the big story. Welcome back. It's still the conversation on TOS TV Network, your digital first Pan-African television network. And remember, you can be a part of the conversation. Just join the community. It's TOS TV Network across all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also, you can also check out lots of our programmings on YouTube. It's TOS TV Network. And don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out our website at www.tostvnetwork.com for any kind of information you want from across the continent and from around the world as well. So the discussion this morning is going to be on how, the issue of insurgency and banditry is pulling education in northern Nigeria backwards. So basically, what has been the implication of banditry or terrorism or insurgency? I like to say terrorism, but they have come out to say, oh, they're not terrorists, they're just bandits, or they're just insurgents. There's always a coinage around who these people are. So we have to say whether bandits, a terrorist, or insurgents or whatever they are. How has the constant back and forth with kidnappings, banditry? We recently read this morning that 17 more have been taken. When schoolgirls were released, was it last week? So it's like week in and week out, we have something happening in one of the northern states, from Niger to Kaduna to Katsina. It's been back and forth. So how has that affected education in the north? Because go on.
Yeah. So before we even talk about bringing a guest on the show, I think this whole thing it has already brought about fears in the minds of people.
Yes.
Parents are saying, look, if we're waking up this morning to talk about an abduction, we don't know what school is next. So why go to school if we have security people, they cannot secure the students. I mean, they're using motorcycles to kidnap people.
Students.
And a motorcycle is just a two-wheeled machine. Why don't they use a van or something?
Exactly.
So if I were in the northeast, even part of the northeast in Nigeria, as a parent, will I allow my children to go to school?
And exactly, this is what it is. And then we should not forget that the northern part of Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children already.
That we've been talking about before now.
Yeah, before all of this. So it's been like the advocacy has been for more, children in the north going to school, having children in the north going to school, having them have at least basic education, that's primary and maybe junior secondary education in the north. And then having to now see insurgency. And I think that's why the governor of Niger State had said that was, encouraging parents in the state to not be deterred by, what's happening, and then,
But then again, there's only much that can do, because this is happening. It's on the news, on the newspaper, and everywhere. Do you understand? So it's something that we'll have to keep talking about till something is done about it. And how does this affect the education system in Nigeria? Again, joining us on the program this morning to discuss how banditry, others, is drawing North's education backwards is Moses Paul, an education advocate. Good to see Moses. Good morning, Moses. You're welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, great. Just saddened with the situation in the country and what's happening in the north.
Of course, it's good to have you on the show. So the first question I'll start is, we have you as an education advocate. So we're going to ask, how is kidnapping designed to cripple education in the northern region of Nigeria? How does that work? Like, what's the connection?
I mean, it's straight to the point. You can see right now, if you are in the fringes within the north, and especially given in the towns where these banditry, kidnapping, and terrorism have become the order of the day, it has further plunged the narrative of not going to school further backwards. When Boko Haram started, and for those who are not acquainted with what the word Boko Haram means, Western education is forbidden. That's what Haram means. And this is what they supposed to do. So fundamentally, we can say that the actions of these, whether you call them jihadists or you call them the terrorists or banditry or whatever it is, their line, their logo, what they set out to do is to diminish and remove completely what we know as education today, by terrorizing people, by bringing fear, by making sure that education as it is known, is completely removed. And this is saddening also because in the equations of things, especially in the educational sector around the country, the North has been at the receiving end all these years. What this has done is to further plunge, this narrative and these figures furthermore down the drain.
Yes.
So that today, as we speak right now, even while others are trying to catch up and go to school, we are increasing quantumly. Northern Nigeria is producing in a rapid stage young children and people who have no educational value at all.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we see education right now as a camp where they are susceptible to being kidnapped, being killed, being raped, being suppressed, being subjugated, being given to all manner of evil that you can think of. So that is the picture of education that is being painted in northern Nigeria right now, in looking from the perspective of these young people. So what has been done, even the little that has been done in the educational sector with the regime of the Jonathan's administration, even with the Almajiri education and all the things that have been done and executed, has been completely removed.
Yes.
With what is going on right now. The school system has become the camp of enslavement where these people come to carry out their activity. This is the exact position we are right now. And I can tell you that the things that are happening with the banditry and the terrorism and with what is going on is putting northern Nigeria into a 1,000-year backward.
Yes.
It is not something we can't gloss over it. Even if we decide to reverse the case today, it's going to take Nigeria another 50 to 100 years to reverse in psychology the damage that has been caused already to the Nigerian northern children.
All right. Earlier on, you spoke about some of the measures that previous administration, and even this administration has been doing, to ensure that, because the northern Nigeria has been, the back end of number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. The advocacy has been to have more students or pupils in northern Nigeria have at least basic education. Now, we've had issues of back-to-back kidnapping and abduction in the north. What does this speak to the number of out-of-school children that we have or are going to have in northern Nigeria?
Come again, I didn't get the basis of that.
So my question basically is, what does kidnapping, the issue of banditry and abduction, the incessant abduction that has been happening in Nigeria or northern Nigeria, what does it speak to out-of-school children in northern Nigeria?
You're asking of the cause and effect of banditry in northern Nigeria?
Yes. As it relates to having, the number of out-of-school children that we have right now in northern Nigeria.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's a very deadly and a dangerous narrative that is being deepened because already it's been there. I mean, I have the opportunity to work in the north a few years back, and I see how these value systems that have been in the education value system that have been trying to put in place all this while, which is not comparable or compatible with the other part of the country, is now being further degraded by the banditry that is going on. And that's why I'm saying that it is so dangerous, because to reverse this trend is going to take all of our lives to do.
Yes.
And moreover, we're not even there yet. It's breaking down every sector. And you see, again, one of the most dangerous factors being created is that they are even having these young people who are supposed to be going to school, they are being recruited. So the base camp of the banditry and terrorist camps are increasing quantumly.
Okay.
So it's,
okay. Go on.
It is increasing because they are also recruiting these people into their camps, which is further degrading. So a point is going to come where we're not even going to be talking about the cause and effect anymore, because if what is supposed to be done is not done, the entire sector, the entire northern sector will be swallowed up.
Yes, true.
What is going on is a very It's changing the entire status quo of what we've ever known in our lives.
So I was going to ask you, if you've spoken so much about the massive effect of all this happening in the northern part of Nigeria. Does this have some sort of relationship to any other part of Nigeria? Are we seeing this thing more double or clone itself in another part of Nigeria? Is this something that can happen maybe in the south or in the west or in the east?
One of the things that we must deal with, I remember over a couple of years ago, maybe 7-10 years ago, for those of us who have been working at the grassroots in northern Nigeria, we have told, there was an event I carried out about 3 years ago. It's called Countering Violent Extremism. And what we had to do was to carry it out in the north, in the south, and in the east. We had to go there and carry out this this exercise, because guess what? What is happening in northern Nigeria is what is happening in Nigeria. Northern Nigeria is Nigeria, and one of the dangerous attitudes that we have in Nigeria is to think that it is happening in northern Nigeria. As a matter of fact, we can see today that the killings and the banditry is cut across both central Nigeria, is now in the eastern part of Nigeria. It's just a matter of time. The whole of the country is going to be consumed. It's already moving.
Yes.
The trend and the tides are already changing. They are moving inwards. And if nothing is done, we are already being consumed. It's just that it has become almost, how do I put it now? It's become a culture already in northern Nigeria. That's what I'm saying, that it is not only that the children are not going to school in northern Nigeria, they are being recruited as part of the base camp for the bandits.
Okay, so let's come back to education. Why, personally, your personal opinion, why do you think that these bandits are very much against Western education in northern parts of Nigeria?
Why they are against Western education has to do with the polarization of religion. You see, when the people are radicalized religiously, it becomes very dangerous. One of the things we haven't done well is that Nigeria or Africa as a people have not been able to develop their own educational system. If you have gone to China like some of us have, you will have older people, they don't speak English in China, but they teach physics, they teach chemistry, they teach biology, they teach the basic things. I spoke Hausa before English, for example. So my basic instinct is an Hausa language, because Hausa was my first spoken language. Therefore, if you taught me physics, chemistry, biology, commerce, government in Hausa, I will understand it much better than I would if you spoke English. So you see, the radicalization, and because Nigeria is fundamentally a Christian-Muslim divide nation. If you're a Muslim, for example, your prayer is not done in English.
Yes.
And so because they are radically indoctrinized religiously, it's against spoken English, against Western education.
Okay.
But you see, and one of the things we are saying is, how do you use Western gadgets? The guns, the ammunitions, the vehicles, the telecommunication gadgets you are using are all from the West, but yet you are demonizing them. These are some of the points we need to bring in to help de-radicalize these people.
Okay, so are you basically saying, sorry, are you basically saying that the issue is the language with which education is being taught in the North, not actually the education itself, but the language is the problem?
Yeah, it's culture, it's religion. You know, because what they see is that they see the West. That's why when you see people, let me give you a very good scenario.
Okay.
I mean, Nigeria is not, we are not Arabs.
Yes.
So the Muslims in Nigeria, they go to Mecca.
Yeah.
But we are not Middle East people. You can see that sharp connection between the Muslims and these people. The same thing you can see Christians go to pilgrimage in Israel. In fact, some part of the South claim that they are descendants of the Jews. It is because we are a people that are radicalized religiously, and this is not just something that is particular to the North, and that's why I'm giving the balance of the South.
Okay.
In southern Nigeria, so with that kind of radicalization, given the peculiarity of the North, who are majorly radicalized religion with the religion of Islam, they tend, and because Islam is taught in Arabic, so they see anything English, they demonize anything that comes from the West.
Okay.
So this is why, if, for example, all the things that I'm talking about in terms of our educational values are taught in Yoruba or in Igbo or in Hausa, in our cultural languages, you wouldn't have this kind of radicalization because it will have nipped in the bud the religious element of this radicalization, which will allow us to flourish with our educational system. But because the radicalization is treated religiously, it bans, it removes everything to do. And our educational system, our curriculum, and our basis is based on English language. English language is our official language. And that's why you see some people frown at when you see the Naira note with inscription of Arabic. It's not because anything is wrong with Arabic. It's because of the radicalization of the religious undertone. Because Islam is not done in English.
Okay.
The prayers is done in Arabic. So this is where the coloration comes. And this is what we must deconstruct. As a matter of fact, even for those of us, from the media to all people, our religious houses, our family background, our educational system, this is a national emergency for an awareness that will help to correct this deconstructed mindset where so that our education can flourish.
Okay.
If this is not done, you can see a huge gap that needs to be filled. And if that's not done, this danger of this narrative is going to continue. And it will move from the north down south.
Okay, before Master will ask you the question that he has, I just want to get one thing clear. So you're saying basically that to nip, the issue of banditry and terrorism as a regards to education in Nigeria, we have to start teaching, these pupils in Arabic or in Hausa. That's in the language that they're familiar with. Is that what you're saying? Okay, very good.
It's one of the notes that will help to begin to help in the deconstruction and the de-radicalization. They need to understand that it is not about Western education.
Okay.
They need to understand. And the only way we can do that and win at it is that we have to use our fundamental footnote.
Okay. All right, great.
Okay, Mr. Moses, you have said if this is not being curbed, if this whole insecurity, banditry, education, changing the mindset and everything is not being done, like Nigeria would have a situation, a scenario where it will have a ripple effect in other states. Now, how does this, this education thing speak on this sustainable development goal number 4, which is quality education? How does this look like on the international scene?
How does it what?
So, how does this look on the international scene, like the sustainable development goal number 4, which is quality education? What is it? That's what I'm asking.
So it's basically, how is this going to affect, quality education, being the bingo 4 of the SDGs? How's all of this now, having the number of out-of-school children, banditry in the north and everything, how is it going to affect quality education, achieving quality education, especially in the north by 2030?
You can see already, as a matter of fact and history, we did not even meet up with the MDGs.
Yes.
Much less the SDG. So the world is moving on a quantum scale while we are not even catching up. And because number 4 of the SDG is fundamental to all the other, the quality of education, the quality of your reasoning capacity, the quality, and like the scripture says, that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Education is the quality of your mind. And because the fundamentals that will allow us to be able to train our people and give them this quality of humanness is being removed, there is no way we can meet up to scale in the SDG goals. So 2030 is far-fetched. As a matter of fact, What I am saying is that we are moving backwards. That's what I'm saying, that we did not even meet up with the NDG goals before the SDG came. If you look at where we are right now, we're not even in the scale of, we're not even in the sustainable development goal yet. We haven't even catch up with the NDG goals yet. So for us as a people, it's a pathetic, sorry case and a state that we are in. We're not even living yet. We're talking about a situation where fundamentals are being eroded and are being removed. Whereas in other crimes, they are building. The literacy level is going into minus. So SDG number 4 will not even see the light of day. If anything, we need a lot to be done in this field. And this is the reality. The statistics shows for itself. This is why you can see in the place like Zamfara, for example, less than 10 or 15 people at the markup of SSCE. I mean, are we even alive as compared to the number of people we are graduating? This should be a state of emergency completely in the educational sector. We should have a stampede and a standstill from federal level across the land. Because if that is not done, guess what? All the other elements, it is the quality of your mind that will determine the quality of housing. It's the quality of your mind that will determine the quality, SDG number 1.
Yes.
Because your poverty ratio is measured by the quality of your mind.
Yes,
The
exactly.
food you eat, the quality of food, the quality of house, the quality of water, the quality of interaction. Even the quality of your faith is based on SDG number 4.
Okay, great. Now we've spoken about, all of the problems and everything. Let's look at workable solutions. So what can we do as a people? What can we do to, curb insecurity as it relates to education in the North? What can be done? What would you say, if you're going to prefer solutions, workable solution, what would you say should be done?
In the case of Nigeria as we are right now, I will employ the president as a matter of immediacy to put it on red alert, state of emergency, where the education is concerned, because state of emergency, of course, security has been on that. State of emergency, where the education is concerned, everything that needs to be done has to be put on. The state of emergency needs to be declared. First of all, once the state of emergency is declared, then a curriculum needs to be, and we have people. And the second thing is what I talked about, is there's a massive awareness that will be done after a curriculum is put in place to understand what I was explaining in the first place, to understand that there's a de-radicalization program through this education that has to be put in place, and to help our people understand how they've gotten to where they are, to understand how they've gotten to where they are using religion. Once this program is put in place and people are deployed into that, in the massive campaign that will happen through the schools and religious houses and everywhere, because number 1 is the state of emergency. These are the ways that we are going to be able to move towards regaining the status quo before putting a design in place that will allow a footnote of growth. But the two things that have to be done, first and foremost, is to declare a state of emergency, and also to begin an awareness campaign that will help for the radicalization.
Okay, just to be clear, what would declaring a state of emergency do? What would it do for education in the North?
You see, if you declare a state of emergency in a place, what happens is a complete. If the security of a place becomes harmful and a state of emergency is declared, everything shuts down. It's like a 24-hour curfew. Military, police, interagencies of government move into place. When a state of emergency is declared in the educational sector, one thing will happen. Everything will be taken into cognizance. You can see the Jengebe children that were kidnapped, and even the Kankara boys and all of that. One thing was made clear. those who went to those areas, even the school itself, the physical structure itself, were so like the pictures we saw. Even animals should not be put in that place. So you can see the status quo is completely not even something to write home about in the first place. What declaring a state of emergency will do is that it will not only put the physiological, it will not only put the biological, it will bring the physical element, it will put everything that is required. It is a total package. That's what emergency is. Everything will be looked at. And once you look at it holistically, it can only begin to bring restoration and healing.
All right, thank you so much, Moses, for joining us on the show this morning. Thank you so much for quite an insightful conversation with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was Moses Paul, an education advocate from here in Nigeria, talking about, how banditry has pulled or is pulling the education sector in northern Nigeria backwards. And I'm sure you would agree that it was quite an interesting conversation with them. All right, that's the much we can take on the conversation this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. But before we go, I'll always say don't forget to be part of the conversation and the community. Follow TOS TV Network across all social media platforms. TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also check out our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's TOS TV Network on YouTube. Thank you again for joining the show. I am Adesu Alsui.
And I am Mesaful Ajinamo. Thank you.